Okay, so I've gone through the instructions. I did that yesterday. It was blowing rain and high winds yesterday, so I pretty much stayed inside and read the instructions. Looking at the instructions, there's really not anything that would be a surprise here. And it looks like they tell me to mount the evaporator box under the dash first, then find a place for the compressor, and then the accumulator and attach the hoses. So what I'm considering, and I'm wondering if it'll be worth the effort or not, is should I look at getting that seat out of there so that I can lay down and have more access? So I'm going to see what it's going to take to get that seat out, and then the condenser coil is got to be put behind this grill. So I'm going to start taking that off. So let me get the seat out and take that grill off, and then we'll see where we can go from there. All right, so let's start unpacking the coldmaster.com air conditioning unit. It's basically a universal underdash unit. Let's go ahead and start taking that apart, see what we've got. Coldmaster's made in China. I believe that this is the condenser coil. Popcorn. Let's put this in a container. Some of you guys will be, when you order my parts, you'll get this popcorn, recycled popcorn in the boxes I send you. Okay, we got some, looks like some decent quality AC hose. We got two sizes, one for low side, high side. Okay, another box here. This one has the electric fan. This one's heavy. I'm assuming it's a compressor kit. So I'm assuming this is the compressor kit. What does it say? Compressor base, harness, and fittings. Okay. Let's open that up. Let's open that up, see what it looks like. Okay, you got a plate, got wiring, and got a compressor. More wiring. Okay. So looking at this, actually this is really cool. I like this idea. It makes it so much easier to place your compressor. And and it's got bushings already, so I don't need to buy separate bushings. So we're going to make this happen. This is going to be really nice. And it's also got connector fittings with Viton O-rings. So let's move on to the next piece. Next piece, evaporator fittings. Cold master pliers, accumulator, and lots of fittings. And it looks like an instruction manual. And believe me, I'm an industrial engineer by trade, so I will read these documents so I don't have any surprises and do it wrong. So let's take a look at this. All right, so we got basically universal accumulator, and the accumulator is like a holding tank for oil and moisture, stuff that you don't want in there. These are the quick connect fittings. That way nothing has to be crimped on. Actually, you use these crimping pliers to put the hoses on. You don't need a high pressure press. And these are some other electrical fittings, connections, and a relay. I imagine, you know, because compressors are pretty heavy load, so you're going to need to a large load relay to take and turn that thing off and on, and then there's the instructions. Looks good, looks good. And this has to be the evaporator, the underdash part, because everything else has already been unpacked. Good deduction, Sherlock. Or should I say, no crap, Sherlock. This is the moisture accumulation hose to get it out of the vehicle, because when you cool air down, it condensates and it releases all the moisture, and Florida has a lot of moisture. So, yes. Okay. All right, let's get pictures of this. All right, so far, I mean, I have not worked with another manufacturer, but so far this, you know, it doesn't seem really heavy duty or industrial grade by any imagination, but I will say that it's as good as quality as Jeep put in their full-size Jeeps. And you know, true, that's 30, 40 years ago. But this is better quality than that. And I'm still making the old Jeep stuff work. You can see my videos online of restoring the old underdash Jeep AC systems. And so I'm expecting this to be pretty cool. Yep, you've got your expansion valve right there, and then you've got your one of your low side hookup, low side hookup, high side hookup, expansion valve. So yeah, this looks promising. We're going to get this thing happening here in the next few days. All right, and I got some bendable bracket materials to hold it, hang it under the dash. My boss, not my wife, the guy that owns the truck, said that he wanted the tortoiseshell brown. That's what he got. And so this looks like the fan speed control. He's got little ones on the side that'll blow out to him, and then this is the on-off unit. Oh, okay. It's basically full power on, and then anything in between. And what's that? Hey, yeah, there we go. Another little thing there. Let's put those down so we don't break them. All right, so unpacked, looks pretty good. It looks like it's a fairly simple unit. All right, well, after ciphering and looking at things and putting the evaporator in my lap, sitting in the seat, I don't think I need to take the seat out. I think that would be a lot of extra work and it wouldn't really gain me anything because this thing's gonna go in pretty easy. So I've got an attachment here that slides forward and backward, and then I've got an attachment here that goes against the firewall. So I've got flexibility here. So I made two brackets with the materials that they gave me. It doesn't really identify which brackets are for mounting the fan and the evaporator or the condenser, and the brackets that are made for mounting the evaporator. So I started with one piece, and if I run out of material, I can obviously make more, and I'll bring that up in the video. But this is going to bolt on here. And basically it's going to bolt right underneath the dash lip. And I left a little bit extra because I don't want this thing vibrating the dashboard. So I've got some 1" by 1/4" vinyl tape. And I'm going to put this under the dash so that there is a bumper or a piece of foam between it and the dashboard. That way there won't be any vibration. So let me go ahead and work on the back clip. And once I get the back clip built, I think the back clip is going to be, the back clip is going to have more variables in it because it's got that heavy firewall mat. So I'm going to have to see if I need to cut that mat out or if I can just work around it. All right, so we've got the evaporator temporarily installed, and it's going to provide plenty of room for leggage. I'm 5'11", and the seat's all the way back, so if there's a passenger in here, they should be able to manage. It's not completely tightened down yet because I still got to take in, before I do that, I got to make sure that I put the piece of rubber insulation there, and I've got to make sure that everything looks good for the hoses that go into the back. So that's done. And we've got the condenser, we're pre-fitting it. It looks like in order to make sure that we can get the cables routed, because we're gonna have to go through a hole here by the battery box and get that stuff in. And we need to get it level. Hopefully I can manage all that. I've got this bracket here in the center that limits my options. And so I should be able to mount this flush with this piece and flush over here. And that will probably provide the clearance that I need to get those hoses on. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to offset this fan because I will not be able to put it in the center because of this bracket. And I don't want to create a new bracket or build a bracket to try to go around that. So if I don't have to, I'm not going to. So we'll go ahead and offset the fan. It'll get basically 60%, 70% of the coverage. And we've got the big engine fan pulling air through there anyway, and it won't be an issue when it's on the road. So let's get started on that. We'll get this figured out how we're going to take and mount it, and then we'll continue on. So now we're at a point, I know that these brackets, and I understand the manufacturer doing it this way, there's no way to estimate what brackets are going to be like on every vehicle. So they give you a few token brackets, but ultimately you are likely going to have to fabricate your own brackets to mount the condenser and also the accumulator and the compressor. Now, ideally, if you've got a flat area to mount your compressor, you're set. But the flat area on this Ford, let me show it to you. The flat area on the Ford puts it, okay, so the flat area on the Ford, I could put it there, but it's right next to the exhaust header. And that's not a good spot. I mean, it's basically heating up the compressor, and that's going to artificially heat the gas that's in there. So that's not a good idea. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move it up into this area here, and that gets it away from the header, and it puts it more in line for the hoses to go into the evaporator. So I'm going to build a bracket that goes there, and I'm going to build some simple brackets to go in here. And I'm going to pick up, there's a bulge or a rib, a bead right here. So I'm going to pick up on that because it's a little bit stronger. And if I have to bend this to get it all into alignment, I will. But this side is going to be shorter. I'm going to bring it all the way to the edge here because I need room in order to route those cables. I got to bend them through those holes there. So the accumulator, not the accumulator, yeah, the condenser is going to come out to here. So I'm going to need 5.5 inch brackets out here. And also, if you remember, I said that I was going to offset the fan. The fan is going to be on this side. And it's that way it makes everything easier because we've got to get around this bracket. All right, so I'm going to cut these out of metal and I'll show them to you when I get them done. Okay, we got a lawnmower going on in the background there. But let me show you how far we've gotten. I've got the brackets. They're multiple step brackets to get it into that area. However, in order to get it up high enough to clear the refrigerant lines, I'm going to have to, I didn't want to, but I'm going to have to trim this hood latch bracket. And I think I can make it stronger, or just as strong as it was, by using some heavy flat bar. But I'm basically going to take, at the narrowest that it was before, it was just a little under an inch. So I'm going to take it to 3/4 inch in the whole area that I need. And like I said, and then I'll cover that with a piece of 1/4 inch or 3/16 flat bar, and that'll give me clearance. But I don't think it's going to give me much more clearance for the fan, but that's really not what I'm concerned about. I'm concerned about getting the condenser tilted a little bit so that I can clear the frame of the truck, so that I can get those refrigerant lines or fluid lines back, or up into the front and then back into the cab. All right, that's it. I'm going to be working on that. I'll get it all painted so that it looks pretty. Rock Lawrence, out! So let's look at the increase in clearance. It's pretty substantial. I mean, we've got plenty of room. I think I'll take these kickouts out over here and over here, and see how much forward it brings it, so that I can calculate here. So we've made some progress and we've had some setbacks. The first thing that I want to say is, anytime you're getting a universal kit, you're going to run into having to fabricate and make your own parts in order to get the best effect. Like I said, they gave us 3 straps of this to basically make whatever brackets we need, which is not enough, and it's not acceptable for what I wanted to do. So I had to make my own brackets. Also, the kit came with some 90s that I didn't want to use because it took up too much room to make the 90. With the electric compressor, it runs out the front and the back of the compressor. And basically I had to turn the compressor sideways, which would take up a bunch of room, so that I could run the refrigerant lines forward and backward. So if I put straights in there, I can just follow the direction of the compressor, and I don't have to do any weird angles and turn the compressor and all that other stuff. Also, the bottom connector to the condenser needed to be a straight, and it was a 90, so I'm getting that replaced also. So I'm waiting for those parts to come in. While I'm doing that, I took these brackets off. These are the condenser brackets, and I put dimple dies in them, 3/4 inch dimple dies. And what that does is that actually takes a flat piece of metal and puts a stress in the parallel direction, and it actually makes it stronger there, and it weighs less. However, I'm not really making it to be stronger. I'm just doing it for the cool factor, because race cars and airplanes do this to lighten the frame of their aircraft and vehicles. So I'm doing that for the cool factor. And the customer asked me, he says, hey, you know, I don't really want to see any of the gray box underneath the dash. So I painted that so that he won't have to look at the gray. I made 2 better brackets to hang the evaporator than the strap that came with the kit. And I finally, they do have it. I went through 3 drawings before they sent me the right drawing on this electrical compressor. And it being that it's written in Chinese. So when I got the right ones, I found out that the top one's negative, the bottom one's positive, and this is the trigger for the fan. So we've got all that stuff going for us, and Everything's waiting basically. I've got most of the brackets. I got to make the bracket for the compressor. But other than that, we are waiting on the fittings to come in, and then I can start routing the hoses, temporarily putting everything in place, routing the hoses, get the hoses where I need them, and then pull it apart again to do the final assembly, and then charge it and get it working. So that's going to be in another video. I was told by the manufacturer that this would take 3 man-hours, and that's possibly for somebody that does it every day. So I doubled that with my estimation, thinking it was going to take 6, but I've already put over 10 hours into this, probably close to 12 now. And so be prepared. If you're going to do this yourself, it's going to take a lot longer because you've not seen it before. You got to figure things out. You got to make brackets, and then you've got to choose the best route in order for your vehicle being a universal fit. That means it's not made for your vehicle, but you can make it work type of thing. But overall, I'm digging the quality on it. It's definitely affordable. Like I said, for $600, I can put one of these in the Cherokee instead of trying to get all the old Cherokee parts up and working again. All right, so let's get this video out. Rock Lawrence, out. Oh, one of the items that I forgot to touch on was I had to patch those holes from the heater. So let's take a quick look at that. So I basically created a patch. Everything's black. So I created a patch there for where the heater motor was at, and then I had 2 tubes that went up there, and I created a patch for that. And basically I used 2 self-tapping screws on each and some seam sealer, and painted the inside and the outside. Looks good. I didn't really have to get in there because everything's flat. I really didn't have to get in there and tack weld it in. So that went pretty quick and easy. And those other 2 holes down there are where the new lines are going to go. All right.